Today on Personal Injury Court.
And then I see Nick Dalton run on the stage. I get so excited. And he yells, "Are you guys ready to rock?" But it was like amplified times 100. And it started ringing really bad and it was painful. I found out I could not hear out of my ear and I had a ruptured eardrum.
You are asking this court to award you $267,000.
This is where me and my best friend Tiffany were standing right before it happened.
This is not where my staff guide you when you come into the gates.
I want you to scream and see if I can hear it. Ah! Did you say something?
Judge Gino Brogdon spent 10 years on the bench ruling on cases worth billions of dollars. Now he presides over some of the largest claims in TV history. This is Personal Injury Court.
Good day, everyone. This is the matter of Wright versus Torres as representative for radio station KOOK. Ms. Wright, it's my understanding you're suing the radio station for injuries that you received at a concert that the radio station put on. You're asking this court to award you $5,000 for your past medical expenses, $12,000 for your future medical expenses, and $250,000 for your pain and suffering, for a total award of $267,000. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Mr. Torres, it is your position on behalf of the radio station that Ms. Wright is responsible for her own injuries, and she should bear the burden of this, true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, let's get into the legal sauce. Now, you were going to a concert, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me about that.
All right, so it's the band Silver Nickels, which is actually my favorite band. I love them so much.
Silver Nickels?
Yes, Silver Nickels. I actually started following them when I was a teenager, back when they were first established as a band, and I went to 8 different of their concerts. I was a huge fan of them, and my favorite is the lead singer, Nick Dalton. Everyone loves the guitarist, but my favorite's Nick Dalton, the singer. They broke up like every other great band does after a while. Of course, I was bummed as a teenager when they first broke up, but later on, I found out about 9 years later that they reunited for this promo festival that this radio station was putting on. I was so excited because the nostalgia hit me of like back when I used to watch them all the time in concert. I was so excited. I wanted to win these tickets so bad, and I was the 100th caller and won VIP tickets to the pre-show, sound check included and everything.
Mr. Torres, tell me about the radio station putting on these concerts.
Yes, sir. I'm the GM responsible for the concerts.
Yes, sir.
It's our Summer Fest. It's a 3-day festival, and this was huge for us this year because, as Ms. Wright had said, the Silver Nickels were coming. I started with KOOK in 2002 as an intern.
All right.
I had to be good friends with the singer, Nick Dalton. When he showed me that they wanted to reunite, I said, we got to get them on the line. So I brought them to the festival. We do about a 6 or 7 month, usually, a promotion for the festival. I did a good 1 year for this. This was going to be really big.
This is a big deal for the radio station.
Yeah. It's a huge deal for us.
Okay.
So I did, and as Ms. Wright said, we do promos. It's a big marketing thing for not only for Kook Radio, but for the festival itself. I run the festival. I own the festival, if you will. It's my baby, my bread and butter. So it was big to have the Silver Nickels on, and Nick was gracious to be a part of that. So I brought them in, and it was going to be a huge event.
So, Ms. Wright, what happens?
Well, actually, I didn't go to the concert itself. I had to go to the pre-show first, the sound check.
All right.
We went there with my best friend Tiffany. I brought her with me, and we got super excited to be there. I got to see everything get set up. I got to see the drums and the guitar. I got to see Silver Nickels on a drum set again after 9 years, which is insane. I was so excited, and I felt the nostalgia just really hitting me as like being in this environment again. I'm an avid concert goer, but to see Silver Nickels live again was a big deal for me. And then I see Nick Dalton run on the stage. I get so excited. And then he runs up to the microphone and he yells, "Are you guys ready to rock?" As he's looking straight at me, almost as he remembers me. I was super excited. But then, you know,
I'm sure he remembered you.
Yes, but you know that loud sound that comes from feedback? I heard that sound, but it was like amplified times 100. It was like almost like a sonic boom of sound in my ear immediately, and it started ringing really bad, and it was painful, and it was hurting really bad. And then I found out I could not hear out of my ear, and I had a ruptured eardrum.
Now, where are you when this happened?
I was close to the stage, a little to the right.
Ms. Wright, you submitted a diagram to walk me through this. Could you cross over to the screen and take me through this?
Yes, Your Honor. So this is where me and my best friend Tiffany were standing right before it happened. He runs on the stage, grabs the mic, and shouts, "Are you ready to rock?" And this speaker right here, that's where I could hear the huge sonic boom that was super painful right in my ear that ruptured my eardrum.
So when he shouts, you know right away there's a problem with your ear.
Yes, it was like the speaker was dialed all the way up, and I could hear a ringing immediately.
How did you get to go to sound check?
The VIP passes included a pre-show sound check.
Oh, so part of the package was that Miss Wright could go in and kind of hang out with the celebrities, do sound check, the things that normal guests don't get to do.
Yes, Your Honor. However, the graph right where she says she was standing, this is not where my staff guide you when you come into the gates.
Okay.
They guide you into the center for the very safety reasons. This is sound check. In sound check, you're checking decibels. We want to get the most pristine sound we can to a festival for our patrons. It is very, very important because I've been to many festivals where there's a lot of distortion, a lot of reverb, and a lot of feedback. Well, that's not how we do our festivals at Cook. So at the end of the day, we guide them in there to the middle.
Your Honor?
Yes, ma'am.
I was guided into the middle at first, and then by one of the people working for the radio station, and then he left. And right afterwards, we were all kind of like, okay, so do we just stand here? We didn't know what was going on. And a different man who was moving some heavy equipment told us to move, and that is how I ended up down there. So I was instructed to move down there.
Coming up.
No offense to Miss Wright, but she has no experience in the sound checking department.
But you do, and she's hurt at your sound check. So why isn't this your fault?
We have stations everywhere with these earplugs.
I actually did not notice them. I probably glanced at them when I first walked in, but I didn't see them, and no one instructed me to wear earplugs. This speaker right here, that's where I could hear the huge sonic boom that was super painful right in my ear.
We guide them in there to the middle.
Your Honor, a different man who was moving some heavy equipment told us to move, and that is how I ended up down there. So I was instructed to move down there.
So, Mr. Torres, when it's sound check, the levels are different from when the concert is going on.
Absolutely. That's the whole point of sound check. It's, you know, it's very high, it's very low, and to be honest, it's not very customary for the lead singer to come out and grab the mic and scream during sound check.
Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am.
One time as a teenager, since I got to know Nick Dalton a little bit, he asked me specifically to come to a sound check one time, and I remember they started at a lower volume. I feel like that would make more sense to
No offense to Miss Wright, but she has no experience in the sound checking department.
But you do, and she's hurt at your sound check. So why isn't this your fault?
Because
you're the guy that knows the most.
We have stations everywhere with these earplugs.
Sheriff Matt, could you get those earplugs for me?
They're neon, so they're very seeable. They're not transparent, so you have to see through them. So they're all over the place.
So when they go to sound check, the folks need to put them in their ear, and they would put them,
You know what? For their safety, yes.
And if you put these in, then your eardrums are protected.
That's correct. That's correct, just like any other rock festival. This is a rock festival.
So I want to put them both in. I want you to scream and see if I can hear it. Let's see here. Ah! Did you say something? Okay, so this is to protect the ears.
Yes, sir.
They have bowls of them around the venue. Why didn't you put your earplugs in?
I actually did not notice them. I probably glanced at them when I first walked in, but I didn't see them, and no one instructed me to wear earplugs. I didn't know that they were accessible to me, and not everyone was wearing them.
Next.
There could be a chance that it gets better. There could be a chance not. They told me I lost my hearing for life.
This court has consulted Dr. Samantha Brown Parks.
But at above 165 decibels, it can actually blow through that thin eardrum.
To better understand how sound checks work, this court has consulted Michi.
If you're gonna go to a sound check, you always wanna just have earplugs just in case.
Can I get tickets to your next show?
For sure. You gotta stay away from the speakers though.
He runs on the stage, grabs the mic, and shouts, "Are you ready to rock?" right in my ear that ruptured my eardrum.
This is not where my staff guide you when you come into the gate. We have stations everywhere with these earplugs.
I didn't know that they were accessible to me, and not everyone was wearing them.
Ms. Wright, you've got an earpiece
A hearing aid, yes.
Is this hearing aid because of your eardrum injury?
Yes, because I lost hearing in my right ear.
Now, you're asking this court to award you $5,000 for your past medicals and $12,000 for future medical expenses. So you've got some other things to buy.
Yeah, it's I have to keep up with repairs and tubes and stuff and new hearing aids and make sure that they stay with my ear because there could be a chance that it gets better, there could be a chance not. They told me I lost my hearing for life, so I have to keep updated to make sure it fits my ear still and continue buying hearing aids. They're not free.
Well, to better understand the nature of your injuries from a medical perspective, this court has consulted Dr. Samantha Brown Parks. Sheriff, will you get Dr. Samantha Brown Parks for us?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good day, doctor. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
What happens when an eardrum is ruptured?
Well, first we need to review how an eardrum works. So when sound waves come through the air, your ear grabs those waves. It collects them, sends them down the external auditory canal, or this tube, and it hits a small membrane called a tympanic membrane. It vibrates back and forth just like the top of a drum does in a band. This vibration moves the bones on the middle ear, the malleus, the incus, and the stapes, and they go back and forth. This causes a shock wave of the fluid that's in the inner ear, which in turn creates a signal that goes through the cochlear nerve to the brain and tells your brain, I'm hearing something. So when you have a hole in the tympanic membrane, you can beat the drum and it still makes noise, but it's not the same noise that a normal drum would make.
Doctor, how loud does a sound have to be to actually damage the eardrum in that way?
Our normal speaking voices are somewhere between 50 and 60 decibels. But at above 165 decibels, even for a short burst of time, it can actually blow through that thin eardrum with just a little bit of sound wave.
So the sound itself tears the eardrum fabric?
It does.
Well, how do you repair it?
When the holes are small, it takes about 6 to 12 months for that membrane to grow back together.
In this case, doctor, Ms. Wright has a hearing aid. What would be the eardrum condition that would require that?
So what we're doing with the hearing aid is actually amplifying that sound wave that you and I would hear at a normal level.
Doctor, what are the complications that follow this kind of injury?
As the hole in the eardrum starts to repair itself, it's not perfect. And sometimes you don't get full hearing back at the same level that you had it before the injury.
Doctor, thank you so much. We appreciate you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Mr. Torres, life has been changed forever for Miss Wright. You see that?
I am very compassionate with this. As a person that's an avid music lover, I'm in the industry. I understand that there has been some damage to her hearing, but we are not liable for this at all. You don't stand by a 6-foot speaker during sound checks, especially when I provide the equipment to save your hearing that she decided not to utilize.
There is some common sense on this, right, Miss Wright?
Yes, but I was not told to wear the earplugs, and not everyone was wearing them.
Yeah, but how much instruction does it take to see it's gonna be loud? You put these in your ears.
Your Honor, on our VIP badges, we have guidelines on the back.
Did you have a VIP badge?
I did have it with me.
Sheriff, could you get the badge and let me take a peek at it? Thank you, sir. It reads VIP guest rules, follow crew and employee instruction, do not approach artists unless invited, stay away from speakers and heavy equipment, do not wander venue unescorted.
Which was
You had this pass, right?
Yes.
You had this hanging around your neck.
I did.
Did you read this?
No, because I was caught up in the excitement of it.
Let me give you a legal lesson. When you wear these kinds of things, whether it's a ticket or a badge or whatever, it's not just a decoration. There are rules that protect you on the back. Always read what you get at a concert setting. Folks, to better understand how sound checks work, this court has consulted R&B singer and star of X on the Beach, Michi. Sheriff Matt, will you go get Michi?
Yes, Your Honor.
How you doing?
How are you? Good day to you.
Good, definitely.
Now, you've done sound checks before, right?
Always.
Well, how are they supposed to work?
Well, usually for me, I go out and I check the mic first. I want to make sure the house speakers are not giving any crazy bad feedback.
Now, this case involves someone gets VIP tickets, they go to sound check, and suffer an ear injury. Yeah. What is your advice to anyone in the radio station's position when they're going to invite someone to sound check?
Definitely just warn them. Definitely warn people not to go close to the speakers. If you're going to go to a sound check, you always want to just have earplugs just in case.
Ms. Wright, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Michi?
Yeah, can I get tickets to your next show?
For sure. Definitely. Gotta stay away from the speakers, though.
Thank you, sir, for your testimony. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Folks, I think I've heard what I need to hear. I'm ready to render my decision.
The verdict is in.
You go to the concert, you move over to the speakers because one of Mr. Torres' employees moved you out of the way. Mr. Torres, you believe this is not your fault. You said earlier in the trial this is common sense. If she had worn the earplugs, if she had stayed in the place you put her, if she had simply read the back of her VIP badge, this would not have happened. Stay away from speakers and heavy equipment. When you wear these kinds of things, there are rules that protect you on the back. Folks, I think I've heard what I need to hear. I'm ready to render my decision. Folks, in every personal injury case, the plaintiff has the burden of proof. The three legs you have to prove are that the defendant did something wrong, first leg, that the wrong caused, second leg, the third leg, which is your injuries. Your injuries are undisputed. You've put up evidence that you go to the concert, it's during sound check. Now, you move over to the speakers because one of Mr. Torres' employees moved you out of the way. You think you're still safe. Nick Dalton comes out, screams into the mic, your eardrum goes kaput, and now you've got a personal and permanent injury. Mr. Torres, you believe this is not your fault. You said earlier in the trial this is common sense. If she had worn the earplugs, this wouldn't have happened. If she had stayed in the place you put her, this wouldn't have happened. This is her fault, according to you. And frankly, you said if she had simply read the back of her VIP badge, this would not have happened. Well, the law that is illuminated by the facts in this case is premises liability law. You, as the premises holder, have a responsibility to keep your customers safe with reasonable measures. The danger here is the sound check because the volume is higher and lower, not regulated, but when it's too high, it causes an injury. Here, you all did not keep her in the safe place. When you pull someone into the danger zone, you have certain responsibilities. You did not insist that she wear these earplugs. The earplugs are like a hard hat at a construction site. If she doesn't wear them, she needs to get out because safety is first. Because you didn't do those things, I find you have proven that the radio station is wrong. So I'm going to find in your favor and against the defendant for a total award of $267,000 against the defendant. That's my final verdict, and this matter is adjourned.
I don't agree.
Personal Injury Court.
Good day, everyone. This is the matter of Larson versus Reinhardt and Clarkson. Mr. Larson, it's this court's understanding that you are suing Ms. Reinhardt and Ms. Clarkson for $2.4 million for past medical bills, $100,000 for future medical bills, and $2.5 million for pain and suffering for a total of $5 million. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Reinhardt, Ms. Clarkson, you all believe that his injuries are his fault. That is, you provided a concert, he was injured, he got what he paid for.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, now let's get into the legal sauce. Mr. Larson, tell me how you got to go into this concert.
Well, Your Honor, me and my girlfriend have been dating for 2 years now. We met at a video game convention 2 years ago, and we shared similar interests.
Both you all are music lovers?
Yes. I'm also a pro gamer, so I play video games competitively and sometimes for stream online.
You get paid to play games?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
Your Honor.
All right.
And so we were wanting to do something special for our 2-year anniversary, and we have never been to an Epik Starr concert together. Epik Starr is my favorite artist ever. I've been to well over 10 Epik Starr concerts in the past.
So you really like Epik Starr?
Yes.
Miss Starr, that's got to feel good.
Yes.
To have fans who love you like that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I just love the way she talks about love and peace in her music.
So she really connects with you with the music.
Yes, and I think she connects with a lot of her fans. When you go to her concerts, they're energetic events. You go and everyone is full of energy.
Miss Clarkson, you're the owner of this venue, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you have these kind of concerts all the time?
All the time. We actually really wanted Miss Epik Starr to come and perform because it was her American tour. It was the last leg. It's a pretty hype type of atmosphere, so it was standing room only. And she did an amazing job.
So, Miss Starr, you're expecting all these fans out there, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
People who love you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Does it ever get old for you?
No, it doesn't. My most important thing is to make sure my fans are happy. Like he said, I'm about peace, love, and, just connecting with my fans. And that's the most important part to me, making sure everyone's safe and everyone's having a great time, pretty much.
And you mentioned safe. I imagine when you realized that this young man was
Your Honor.
injured, it kind of got to you.
Yes, Your Honor, because like I said, I do care about my fans, so it does bother me that he is injured.
So, Mr. Larson, you and your girlfriend, you go to the venue. Where do you decide to stand?
Well, we wanted to get as close to the front of the stage as possible because seeing her up in person, she really brings the energy to the whole crowd.
She's got a good show.
Yes, exactly. And she has this signature move she does near the end of every concert.
Signature move?
Yes, where she stage dives off the concert and then crowd surfs around for a while.
Tell me how it happens and what do you do?
At every single one of my concerts, I always do the stage dive, or crowd surf.
Okay.
At every single one of them. Like he said, he's been to 10 to 20 of my concerts, so he knows this, that's
You do
what I
it every time?
Every single one of them.
This is what my middle son calls the hype move.
Yes, they love it, and that's why I do it every single one, because like I said, it's about pleasing them. So they love when I do it. Everyone knows, so it's an awesome time. They know that I'm coming because I say, like, 3, 2, 1, here I come, like, so that they know that they're ready
So it's like
for me
3,
to come out.
2, 1,
Yeah, and then here I come, and then I jump out, and then, they know that I'm coming. They
And
know
they
to be
catch
careful
you.
and to pay attention, catch me, and everything, yeah.
Okay, and that's
why I
what
make sure
you
there's
anticipated,
procedures.
Mr. Larson? That she was
Absolutely.
going to jump off the stage?
Absolutely. We were trying to
Tell me how you got hurt.
Well, Your Honor, we knew that at the very end of the concert, Epik Starr does her signature stage dive. And since we knew that was coming, we were hoping to get out a little early to avoid the crowds when we were leaving the concert hall. And so we were on our way out. I turned around and suddenly I feel a sharp pain in the back of my neck.
Now, when you turned, did you turn away from the stage?
Yes, Your Honor,
Okay.
towards the exits.
So what happened next after you turned?
I felt the sharp pain in the back of my neck, and it crumpled me over. My girlfriend came over to see if I was all right, and when I turned around, I saw that Epik Starr had kicked me in the back of the head.
If you were turned around, there's no way you could see if I kicked you.
So, Ms. Starr, do you remember this event?
No, I do not recall this at all.
Ms. Clarkson, were you there?
I was there.
What do you
Honor-
remember?
Your Honor, I did not see the kick. However, I did see him fall down. I sent over the head of security. He's been with me 10 years. I trust him. And I went over to see if he was okay. He stated that he was fine, that nothing was hurt, that he was okay.
So, Mr.
and
Larson, at
left.
that time, you were okay.
Yes.
You
at
felt the pain, but you weren't
At
feeling
the
much
time,
more
it
than that.
seemed like a minor injury at best. I was with my girlfriend. I didn't want to seem like a wimp needing help out of
Right.
the theater. But by the time we got to our car, I was having such an excruciating headache that I didn't feel safe driving anymore.
And this was caused by the stage dive.
Yeah.
Ms. Starr, look at the plasma here. This is kind of, is this the way it happens?
Yes, Your
Is,
Honor.
is
it
this how you end up when you connect with the crowd?
Yes, Your Honor, it is. That's why I don't see how there's any way that I could have kicked him. How high they hold me up, like I said. I say 3, 2, 1, here I come. They know I'm coming, so they hold it up. That way it's all safe.
Okay, so Ms. Starr jumps off the stage. you feel an impact to the
Yes.
back of your head, then what happens?
Well, Your Honor, the next day I woke up with continued severe head pain and whiplash.
And you didn't feel this the night before when you were at the concert?
No, it got much worse overnight. And when I finally decided to do something about it, my girlfriend took me to the ER, and the doctors confirmed that I had whiplash from a blunt force trauma to the back of my head. The headaches were included in that. The doctor gave me a neck brace and told me to keep an eye on things, but it didn't get better after that.
Your Honor.
In fact, 10 days later, I suffered a stroke.
For the record, how old are you?
24 years old, Your Honor.
Your Honor.
And you believe this stroke was caused by this stage dive?
Yes, the doctor that I saw after
And
my
the kick in
stroke.
your head?
Yes.
And he said that he had this 10 days later, so I don't get how that has anything to do with my concert. I'm sorry that it happened to you. It's a terrible thing, especially at your age, but it wasn't my fault if it happened 10 days after.
Your Honor, I would like to point out that I do have a witness to the kick in the back of my head.
Okay.
While I had turned around to leave, my girlfriend was still behind me,
and I see
watching Epik Starr.
That you brought your girlfriend.
Yes, Your Honor.
Could you please step to the podium so I can hear from you, because I want to hear what you saw. For the record, what is your name?
My name is Gino McNeil.
Now, Miss McNeil, you were at the concert with Mr. Larson, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me what you saw.
I saw Epik Starr kick him in the back of the head.
That is not true.
It's
But-
exactly true.
I didn't kick him.
Excuse
Obviously,
me,
you're going to take your boyfriend's
The security
side.
guard watched it
Folks, we need to have
happen.
order. We need to have order. Please continue, Miss McNeil.
Yes, Your Honor. So he was definitely in pain. The security guard also witnessed it happen along with myself. I also have proof of the text message he sent me the next morning. Excuse me, I'm talking.
Ma'am.
So the
What's your
next
point?
morning, he texted me talking about headaches and trouble breathing and chest pains. And
Your
I
Honor.
But that's
brought
not proof
Your
that, that's
Honor
not proof
today.
that I did it.
So
not proof that I
you
did.
said you have a text message with you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Sheriff Matt, could you retrieve that from Miss McNeil?
Your Honor, while you're waiting on that text message, you heard the
Thank
Mr.
you.
Larson state that we offered him.
So, Miss
medical
McNeil, this is the
treatment.
text message that you received?
Yes, Your Honor.
This was the day after this concert?
The morning after.
And this is what you received. It reads, "Hey, babe, that kick really blanked me up. I have terrible whiplash and my chest hurts. I'm going to take a nap. I'll call you when I wake up."
That's ridiculous.
Now, 10 days later, you have a stroke.
Yes, Your Honor.
Tell me how that developed. What happened? How did you know something had changed?
Well, the headache kept getting increasingly worse as the time went on. And another symptom that I started experiencing was trouble breathing. And these just progressed and continued progressing, clearly to the point where I had a stroke.
I really am sorry.
Miss Clarkson, you look like you are in pain. Tell me what's on your mind.
I'm just really baffled at the timeline.
What bugs you is the 10 days.
That and the fact that we offered him, we did our due diligence. We
Yes,
followed
ma'am.
protocol. So for
But
him
it
to
can't
come out.
really surprise you that someone would get injured when a person jumps from the stage
Actually,
on
it
stage.
really
Honor,
does.
Right?
I actually have
actually does.
Your Honor, I have the shoes I was wearing that night. They're fuzzy boots. I can show you. And there's no way something like this
So Mr.
could
Larson,
have
you were
caused him any
kicked with
trauma
that
to his
boot?
head.
I was kicked with that boot with a person wearing it.
Large
very
person.
petite.
Sheriff Matt, would you retrieve that boot for me?
It hurts.
Let me see the boot.
Your attitude hurts, honey.
And Matt, I'm telling you, it's not your size, okay?
A little bit too small, Your Honor.
Now, as I feel on this boot, there's a lot of padding. This is what you were kicked with?
With someone's foot inside of it, yes.
And Miss McNeil,
Collided with the back of my neck.
this boot hitting him in the back of the head is what you remember.
Yes, Your Honor.
She gave them a "Here I come."
At
Why would you
3-1,
turn
here I
around?
come,
Mr. Larson, did you hear, "Here I come"? Well, let me ask you this. Had you heard it in the past at Miss Starr's concert?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you know the dive is coming.
Yes, Your Honor.
Exactly.
Did you hear it that night?
Your Honor, I did hear the
Thank you.
"Here I come." coming from the stage.
By the time you're walking out, it all happens so fast.
And he chose to turn around.
But that
I was
his
already
choice
turned
to turn
around.
around. But I never hit anyone. Someone else could have hit you.
Yes, you did.
You
Folks,
heard, here it comes,
folks.
and you had the precaution.
Order in this court. We'll have order in this court.
Why would he turn
One
around?
of the problems you all are having with this is that there's a 10-day delay between the concert and the stroke. This court consulted a doctor who's going to give us some light on this 10-day delay.
All righty.
Sheriff Matt, will you go get Dr. Vaughn? Sure. Dr. Vaughn, come on in.
Thank you.
So, doctor, for the record, state your name, please.
My name is Dr. Neelam Vaughn.
Dr. Vaughn, could you please explain the plaintiff's injuries?
It appears that Mr. Larson suffered from a blunt force trauma to the back of his head and later suffered from a vertebral artery dissection.
Doctor, explain what happens to the body when a person is having a stroke.
So you have an injured vessel, you have blood going through, and it either gets stopped all the way and blocks the artery, or it goes through very slowly. What happens is that you can't have enough oxygen in your brain, which you need for it to keep functioning. See that area right there, all that black area? That's dead tissue from a lack of oxygen, which is what we know as a stroke.
Once the tissue dies, what happens to the brain?
All that brain, that corresponds to things in your body.
So basically, how your body is damaged depends on how much your brain is damaged.
Absolutely, and where it's damaged.
Now, doctor, here, 10 days from day one when he's hitting the back of the head to the time of the stroke, is that possible?
Yes, it's possible. In fact, it's likely.
Thank you, doctor.
My pleasure.
You are released. Mr. Larson, obviously, these injuries have been pretty difficult for you.
Your Honor, for me, these injuries are life-changing. I make my money playing video games, and I need both my arms in order to play games properly. For me, this is game over.
It is not game over. This is a new game beginning. This is a challenge, but your injuries do not define you in any way. You still have a very bright future, and it's time to get excited about the new normal. So things are going to be okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I think I've heard enough. I'm ready to render my decision. In every personal injury case, there are three elements. The plaintiff, the people suing, you, Mr. Larson, must prove that your injuries were caused by something they did wrong. That is, wrong caused injury. Here, you decided to go to a concert with your girlfriend. You did not expect to have a life-changing event, and here we are. You all expected kind of the same thing, to have the last leg of your tour be triumphant with this stage dive, and that your forum hosted yet another successful event. The problem is something obviously went wrong. Here, Mr. Larson, you kind of knew she was going to jump off the stage. In fact, how she was going to do it, because you heard, "Here I come." Mr. Larson, you were aware that there was a risk of injury. Here, you understood she was going to dive off the stage, and I find that makes you partially responsible for this. But I find that you all are mostly responsible for it, because this whole thing could have been prevented if you hadn't dived off the stage. Just common sense that when you dive off a stage, even a petite woman like yourself, someone can get hurt. Someone did get hurt. Mr. Larson, you are suing Ms. Reinhardt and Ms. Clarkson for $5 million.
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Larson, I'm not giving you the full $5 million because you are partially responsible. And I find that you are 20% responsible for your injuries. Ms. Reinhardt, Ms. Clarkson, I find that each of you is 40% responsible for Mr. Larson's injuries. And in that regard, Mr. Larson, I'm not giving you $5 million, but I am awarding you $4 million against these defendants. That is my final decision, and this matter is adjourned. Our attorneys across America just viewed this case for the first time. Let's hear what Richard Harris has to say.
This case shows us that an injury caused by someone may not be immediately felt by the victim. In a car wreck, for example, you may have so much adrenaline flowing through your system after the impact that the soreness and the pain may not be felt until 2 or 3 days later, when the adrenaline is out of you. Just as it did for the plaintiff in this case. So, Here's an important tip. When in doubt, get checked out.